So, so today is basically a continuation of the last video on prayer. Go ahead, watch that if you haven't already. But basically, to continue that off and basically end it, you know, prayer always helps, even in your hardest battles. Um, and Jesus brought me through so much in life. Um, there was even a time where my family was, poor, kind of, and we just lived from home to home, and not necessarily home. To be honest with you, it wasn't even like a house. We was living in hotels and motels, and was it comfortable? No, but nonetheless, God gave us a place to stay in, and just to clarify, if you didn't watch the last one, none of this is gonna make sense to you because I'm basically continuing off of the last video. But anyway, uh, um, so yeah, prayer. There's never a time where God isn't there for you. There's never a time where He doesn't hear your prayers. He's a merciful and patient God, and He will always hear you. He will always, be there for you. And even the times where you feel lonely, He's still there for you. I heard someone say this one time, in a video. The times where you feel the most lonely could be the times where God is the closest, and that's a good opportunity to start, pouring out your heart to Him. Um, I know there's a bunch of times, right, where I was, especially during quarantine. I bet like we could all relate to this. I was feeling suicidal. I wanted to end my life. I'm so serious when I say I wanted to end my life. I was this close one time to just going in the bathroom, just drinking some substance. I was so close to ending my life, right? Because it wasn't necessarily like a depression thing, though I did feel depression, sometimes. This was more like I wanted to quit my journey. I wanted to, like, end my life, not like because I feel like, oh, no one loves me or something like that. But it was like I just wanted to quit and go to heaven now. But, God, held me back from doing that because I don't know what could have possibly gone wrong in that situation. And I'm very glad that God stopped me from, ending it, killing myself. So, and, I've been through so much and God pulled me out of so much. In another testimony, I was also very lustful. People think, especially people who know me personally, they say, oh, Judah is just quiet. Um, Judah doesn't, do wrong. Perfect little Judah, right? I'm not perfect. I'm not better than anybody. And even towards that, I also had anger problems. My family, you wouldn't really see it like outside in public, but you would see it like if you was in my house. I was really angry. I had bad anger problems. But before I talk about the anger, I want to talk about the lust part. You know, growing up as a basically just a boy in general, puberty took a hard turn for me. I didn't know how to take it in or embrace it. It kind of just happened out of nowhere. Um, but when I started to turn 16 and stuff, and I I realized that the more I just went deeper into it, the more I was like, yo, this gotta stop, because I didn't want to look at women inappropriately, right? Because in puberty, you notice certain stuff that I don't know how to explain it. I'm not a scientist enough, but like you just notice certain stuff about a woman. Like you notice her hips, her breasts, her voice. You'll notice anything, and those stuff will attract you. I didn't know how to control it. I didn't know how to stop it. All I knew is that I was praying to Jesus. By the time I think I was 17, and I was like, yo, like this gotta stop. I don't want to go through this no more. I wanted to quit lusting, but it just got worse and worse and worse until one day I chose to stand up to this, and say, you know what, I'm taking a stand. I'm gonna do the best I can to not the best I can to not, look at people at a way that's not the way God created them. In fact, no one was created for that. We shouldn't look at people the way they shouldn't be looked at. If you do, just of course ask God for forgiveness, but don't take His grace for granted. You know, and now on to the anger. Um, I don't know when this started. I'd probably say like when I was probably 13. but I knew it had to stem from something. I don't know what. I don't even know if it's my dad or something. I don't know if it's that's what it is. Okay, thank God he just gave me revelation, or basically help me remember something. So my anger stemmed from the lack of love I've been shown in school. And what I mean by that is, the bullying and the name calling and being a pushover in school, right? I wasn't the type in school to like fight back or something. I was very meek. I was very humble and just, I didn't want to hurt people. Though I did have a heart that wanted to hurt people by the time I got older. But I that stemmed from like just always being pushed around as a child. Like, I remember when I was, I don't know, like second grade or something, I wasn't the type to fit in, I was very different. People picked on me because I was skinny and stuff. They said I looked like a stick, I think. Some stupid stuff that like children would say. And that brings up another point that like your words do have power and you gotta be careful with what you say because that will branch off to something else that's either sinful or just very very harmful and dangerous. That's why we gotta be very careful with our words. You know, and the older I got with the anger, the worser and worser it got, and that brings in if you watch my last video on the music, the the music I listened to stirred up that anger once again, and it kept coming back and back. And just like the lust, I chose to take a stand and make a 180. I'm sick of being angry. I'm sick of like having bitterness towards people. I repented. I didn't want anything to do with it because I know my anger was all due to selfishness and pain and you know really just hurt. I was really hurt, and God answered that prayer too. So if He answered my prayers, of lust, or poverty when I was, technically homeless as a child, and He answered my prayers on my anger. He saw every single last one of them. I never felt any better than I do now. And what makes you think He won't answer your prayers? And you know what? On top of that, another testimony. It's a lot of testimonies, but why not? So days ago, my mom surprised me. No, actually before that. So the day before this happened, I had made this list of prayers, right? Because because to be honest, I was feeling like God wasn't hearing me, even though I just made a video about prayers and God hearing us. But I felt like, you know what? Since I don't really have good memory now for some reason, I'm gonna make a list of prayers that I want to make, and I wanted God to pray for it. I mean, to answer it, basically. I made this list, and there's like it's an app. It's called Note. Just get it, and there's these check boxes. And the first thing on my list, which is what I've been praying for months, on months, or it felt like months, but it was probably just weeks, was to get my own guitar. I've always wanted my guitar. In high school, I play music. I'm an instrumental major, and I also am an animation major, so I double major, two majors. And I just really wanted a guitar, and I wanted a guitar since I was a kid. Um, I've just always dreamt about it. I love the sound of guitar. I love metal. As you don't know already, I really love metal. If you look at my stories, you'll probably see a metal song somewhere. Um, and yeah, I just always wanted a guitar, and that was the first thing on my list. Then the next day, which is tomorrow in this story, the next day, um, I come home from school. I see my mom on the phone. I say, "Hey, what's up?" And she's like, "Wait, don't get undressed yet." It means like don't go in your pajamas, and go to sleep. She's like, "Wait, don't get undressed, cause we gotta go somewhere." I'm like, "Where are we going?" And she's like, "You'll see when we get there." It's not. I'm feeling anxious like for an hour, cause I'm like, "Where is my mom about to take me? Like, is she about to take me to the edge of a cliff or something? Is she angry at me? I haven't done anything." And we get in this guy's car, and we're on the road. He's driving, and I'm noticing that I know the road that he's taking. And I'm not gonna say the road because like who's out there, but I know the road he's taking. I was like, oh, I recognize these roads. And we come to the stop where like I see Guitar Center. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a Guitar Center. My mom looks at me with like this face of like, you see where we at? I'm like, yeah, I see where we at. And I was so happy. I was like, yo, God finally answered my prayer. It felt like forever. You know, sometimes we pray and we expect it to happen the next day, right? But we must be patient because we never know when God is going to answer our prayer. Sure, it may not come when you want it. You know, it's just like they say, God may not come when you want him, but he will come. And that's exactly what happened, right? I was so happy he answered my prayer. I kept praying, I kept knocking on his door, and I just knew someday he was going to answer my prayer. I had faith. That's one of the things you got to have when you pray. Have faith. Have faith that you already have what you prayed for. So we're going to Guitar Center. It's beautiful, right? We're going to the acoustic section for acoustic guitars because you know that's what I really wanted for now. I'm making an electric later, but I really wanted an acoustic just to start off. So happy to be there. I'm so happy. I'm excited. You know, we get the guitar, um, and the case and the picks and